Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Nathan, and I'm currently in my 2012 BMW X5 35D, which if you've watched my channel for a little while now, you know the reason why I bought this vehicle, at least one of the reasons, and that of course is to tow. And that leads me to my next point, is that I recently just bought a 2008 BMW 3 Series, which just happens to be a 328xi from auction, not that far from home. However, on my way driving it back from the auction, the dash lit up like a Christmas tree. And not only that, it just didn't seem fine to drive, at least the long distance. So I decided, you know what, I'll leave it where it is. And then now I'm heading up there with a trailer in my X5 here, and we're gonna go pick it up. All right, I just got back with the 328xi here. It's already on the ramps, as you can tell, and that will be something I'll show you guys later. But for now, let's just give it a quick look over and show you what I got into. Now, this is actually an out-of-province vehicle. This is from Alberta, which, if you know, is a very cold province here in Canada. And oftentimes, cars rust. But this one in particular is actually in really good shape, considering it is a BMW and that it's not a Mazda. Because if this was a Mazda, this would have been rotten already. Let's have a look inside the interior here. It's in pretty good shape. 6-speed manual. Driver's seat's a little nasty, but I've already lined up for getting a new one for this vehicle for 50 bucks, so hopefully that will work out. This is the back seat here, and the back seat looks amazing. Everything is in pretty good shape. I mean, just could use a quick vacuum. That's about it. Pop the trunk. Now, as you can see, I sort of have some things disassembled here, and that's because this battery, which is not a genuine BMW battery, I think is giving this car some problems, and I'll be digging into that shortly. Now, under the hood is the reason why I bought this vehicle, because this is one of the most reliable BMW engines, which I know doesn't really sound like it's a possibility, but yes, they're out there, and this is one of the best ones, the N52 engine. Now, this is one of the earlier model years, which sometimes do suffer from lifter tick, which actually doesn't cause any actual problems with it, it's just more of an annoyance, but otherwise, they're pretty much darn reliable. I mean, yeah, it does have oil leaks and things like that you have to look out for. This one here I figured was worth the gamble. Now, already, when I bought this vehicle from the auction and inspected it, because I did buy this sight unseen, because I noticed that the oil filter housing is leaking right there, which is very common, and that the belts down below here are squeaking. At least the pulleys. So definitely want to replace that. Oftentimes what happens is that this belt right here will start to walk off the pulley right there, so you'll see that usually walking towards the front and actually eventually slip off. That's not so much the case here. I think it's just a matter of the pulleys themselves are just a bit old and tired, so I'll be replacing that as well with the oil filter housing gasket. All right, let's have a further look underneath the vehicle here, and as you can see, at least it's got all the original under trays, at least for the front here, and the metal plate right there, which you can probably tell is caked in a bit of oil. So let's take off this tray, the metal tray here, and the one back there where the transmission is. And despite the fact that it's raining right now, these are not wet from the rain. These are actual oil leaks that have been caked in these covers for so long. This is what you get. Yeah, this is typical BMW oil leaks. Now back under the car, this would be an environmentalist's worst dream.
This is all wrong.
To see all this oil going and leaking all over the place. But I hate to tell you, but this is a normal thing for BMWs, especially even this engine, the N52. Now the oil has made its way from the front of the engine here all the way to the back, and even going towards the transmission, which actually would make you think that the transmission has a leak, but it doesn't. It's just all oil, I assure you. I got a little bit rained out, so I figured I'd step inside the vehicle for a moment and tell you guys how much I bought this vehicle for from auction. Now, this vehicle, I think, had been sitting at the auction for about 3 weeks, or at least approximately then, and the second week, at least I think it was there, I saw how much it had gone for, or potentially would have gone for, and that was about $2,800. Now, I guess the seller didn't want to let it go for that much, so I figured, okay, that's fine. But then I noticed it popped up again at the third week there, and then that's when I placed my bid on it, and I won it for $2,600. Now, for a 2008 BMW 328xi, which is not the, facelift and all that stuff, and that has now 202,000 kilometers in a vehicle from Alberta, I mean, it is clean title, and there is some windshield replacement replacements, but that's normal for a vehicle that comes from there. And it doesn't really have any rust. Like underneath the vehicle, there's hardly any rust, just surface rust on the subframe, but nothing catastrophic. And I'm very surprised, honestly. I think it's a pretty good deal. I mean, yeah, this vehicle definitely needs some work. You know, all vehicles I buy need some work, and you guys know that by now by watching my channel. All vehicles need something, and this one is like, you know, would scare a lot of people away, having an oil pan gasket leak and the oil filter housing gasket leak. You know, that's just typical BMW stuff. I mean, it's so, well, I wouldn't say simple, but it's, you know, simple in terms of other things that could possibly go wrong. So I'm actually pretty happy and counting my blessings so far. I mean, yeah, there's an electrical gremlin that I'm going to have to deal with, and that's what I'm going to try to figure out right now. Right now, I've got my OBD2 connector right here, which I'm just going to plug in down here. And unlike my facelift X5 that has the comfort access system, you actually have to put the key in the slot here and then power it on like that. Of course, using the start stop button right here. Don't you just love that chime? I don't. Now that I got my phone plugged into the car, I'm going to use an app called Pro Tool, which is one of the many apps you can use out there to connect with your BMW. Now this one I use personally because it allows you to see more codes than your standard OBD2 connector, and also you can code things as well. So it's really handy in that aspect as well. Well, I tried to program the car, but unfortunately I couldn't connect with my scanner, so I'm going to move on to the next item. And that is the battery here. Now, this battery looks to have been replaced, but not with a genuine BMW battery, which I don't really agree with. I mean, not just using a BMW battery, which costs an extortionate amount, but nor is using a cheap battery a good idea. So what I'm going to do here, because I was getting codes for the safety connector here, the terminal, I think it's one of these connectors here, and sometimes these apparently get loose. So I'm going to check that to make sure that all the connections are good and they're clean, and that there's no corrosion or anything like that, because this, again, is from Alberta, so who knows. So I'm going to just take out the battery and then check the terminals here on this assembly right here and make sure they're all good, and then hopefully that solves one of the issues I'm having. Now that I got the battery out here, I can further inspect it a little bit more. So the battery itself looks to be in pretty good shape. I mean, the terminals are great. It's a AGM CCA, has 850 cold cranking amps, which is pretty good. And the year is 8 of 24, so August of 2024. That's not bad. So now I'm just going to use this tool right here, which will test the battery to see how well it is. So we're just going to do a check. And we're going to do it out of vehicle. And this is an AGM flat plate, cold cranking amps. Oh, well, there you go. Already set for 850, which is nice. So we're going to check it. So it says it's good, but it just needs a bit of a recharge, which is not surprising because the vehicle sat around for quite a while. With the battery out, I have all the connectors right here, and as you can see, I have part of this disconnected because one of the error codes I was getting was a 93B2, which actually relates to, I believe, the connector right in the back here. So that was triggering the airbag light and also the seatbelt warning light. So I'm going to investigate that a little bit further. Again, I think it's just this connector right here, which just plugs into the back of this right there. So I think these two, something's going on there. I'm just going to double check the pins, make sure everything's good, and then plug it back in and then reinstall the battery in here. And then once that's done, hopefully that will get rid of the code. So everything's all connected. So let's see now if that fixed anything. There we go. I coded the battery. So now that the car knows it's the correct battery as well. So as you can see, I still have all the errors here on the dash. I mean, yeah, the cars aren't started, but still, they're there. Let's see if I can clear the faults. Let's go into airbag, read errors, safety battery terminal, that's the 93B2, and then the bus communicator, that's in German. I can't read that, but let's see if we can just clear those errors and see what happens. That's good. So I can see on the dash here, the airbag light is gone, which is great. Of course, the seatbelt is not plugged in. So there you go. Now that I have my seatbelt plugged in, that's one less thing I have to worry about. That was a really easy fix, to be honest. I think it was just, again, that maybe the terminals needed to clean, but honest to God, that is a very simple fix, which I'm very happy about. So of course, there'll be more errors to deal with, and I think the next one will be the calibration here for the steering angle sensor, which is located in behind the steering wheel here. Now these sometimes do get dirty apparently, and they do need a calibration or they need to be replaced. I'm hoping it will be the easiest of the two, and that is just needing a simple calibration. So let's try that here on Pro Tools and see if we can calibrate that right now. All right, we're in the DSC system here, and we're gonna try and do a calibrate here. And as you can see, one of the options is steering angle sensor. Let's calibrate that. Well, I goofed there for a moment. I actually didn't realize you had to have the steering wheel straight to do this. That makes sense, actually, if you think about it. That's what even the app tells you to do, and I just couldn't really see it because on my screen recorder there, it was covering that portion. So, yeah, make sure your wheels and tires, steering all was straight. Okay, let's try it again. Operation successful. Okay, good. All right, that's what I like to see. So far, this has literally cost me nothing to make some of these small fixes. However, there is going to be the oil pan gasket and the pulleys for the squealing belt up there at the front end, and also the oil filter housing gasket, which again, all that stuff really needs to be done to make this vehicle a much better driving machine like BMW intended it to. I'm gonna end today's video here. There's been a lot to cover. Sorry, this video's been all over the place, but there's just a lot going on with this 328xi, which I bought from auction. Absolutely love it. You know, I've only driven it for a short time, but I'm sure it'll be even better once I rectify a lot of these issues. In the next video, I'll be doing the oil pan gasket, which should be rather interesting because right now we're in fall and it's pretty much bucking down rain almost every day. So that'd be lovely to do, especially on a vehicle with all-wheel drive. So that will be in the next video, so stay tuned for that. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please be sure to subscribe now so that way you don't miss any future videos like this. And also check out other car projects and car reviews on my channel. And until next time, take care. Bye now.